Hello Buttercup, welcome back to my channel. This book review is Dumplin by Julie Murphy, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars on. I quite enjoyed it. It's a young adult contemporary book. I don't know if it's classified as romance. I mean, there is a slight happily ever after, but the romance really isn't the main point. But we'll get into the summary, actually, instead of me just like randomly talking about genres. Let's get into the summary. Oh, and before I forget, I'm just gonna pull it down from here. Dumplin! Go big or go home. I like that. I actually got this from the little library, and it was one of the few little library grabs a month ago, something ago, where I actually enjoyed the book. The other ones, they were a miss. But this was a hit, and I enjoyed it. I like it. Let's get into the summary. We follow Willow Dean, a teenager who's always been at home in her body and skin, but has some moments of insecurity because her mom was a former beauty queen winner. And she still runs the beauty queen contest every single year in this small Texas town. It's a huge deal. Everyone enjoys the beauty contest and the football. And ever since she was young, Willow Dean has an American Beauty-like friend, Ellen, gorgeous. Think she's basically beauty queen standard, by her side, and everything is going well until Ellen gets closer with her boyfriend, and Willow Dean falls for Beau, another teenager at her work. He finds her attractive, and doubt starts to set in because he's a buff-built former private school jock, and she is overweight. And though she thinks that she is beautiful, there are points in this novel where she doesn't feel like she's beautiful. And how could a jock find her attractive? Because you would go with an Ellen type, not with a Willow Dean type. Also because her mom nicknamed her Dumplin, hence the title. So she has some insecurities going on, even though for the majority of the time she does have quite high self-esteem for a teenager. Like, good for her. I had a pretty good self-esteem for a teenager, which is amazing. I don't know how I did that, but I relate, to Willow Dean, where she has her moments. Of everyone, even adults have her moments where she thinks that she's not good enough on all of that stuff. But it is a continuing issue the more you get into the novel, because things aren't going great with Beau and Ellen and a bunch of other people connected with those two, namely Ellen's co-workers, who are all model looking, like they could walk on a runway type of model look. And so Willow Dean and some of her fellow students who are outcast because they're not conventionally attractive, basically they all sign up for the beauty pageants, and no one's mean about it. They just think it's like, okay, there's a group of teenagers that aren't conventionally attractive and they don't do extracurricular activities and they're doing okay in school, and we've never seen them take interest in not really anything like extracurricular activities, especially not beauty pageants. So why are they here type of thing? But no, they work on it. They work through that beauty pageant. They all go through the beauty pageant. I'm not going to say more because that's spoiling the whole book, but there is effort involved. It's not like a complete and utter troll. There is effort and a lot of dedication. During this time of difficulty with her best friend and Beau, Willow Dean also starts talking to Mitch, who's very nice and respectful, but she's still hung up on Beau and that breakup because it didn't end very well. and her insecurities got to her with that one. But for Mitch, I guess Mitch is attractive, but not as attractive as Bo. Okay. And Mitch is still a jock. I forget, does he do football? I think he does. But the negative, like the big negative for Willow Dean revolving Mitch, is that he is best friends and continues to be best friends until the end of the novel with a very nasty jock who bullies everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. He just is a big fat bully. He's horrible and he doesn't stop. So that would be a negative. But yeah, they have a conversation about that, and I don't know if that is really satisfying of a conversation. He's like, oh, he's always been there for me, so I'm there for him. And I'm like, yeah, well, he just stuck someone in the locker. Is that really like the choice that you want to make, Mitch? So that would be a negative. And because this bully has always bullied Willow Dean and her friends, everyone, she's not very keen on this person, and she's questioning why Mitch is friends with him, which I understand, though that is something of like a, well, not even really a teenager thing. I know quite a few people that, you know, are best friends or married to or in a relation to whatever, to someone that is a bully, and, you know, their argument is, well, oh, he's joking, or, oh, she's not always like this, or, you know, stuff like that. So it's just a human thing to make excuses, not necessarily a teenager thing, though I think you see it a little bit more with teenagers. So it is a good topic to talk about. But really, the main point, the main plot, all of that is we're following Willow Dean trying to fix a lot of things that has happened, not just with the beauty pageant, but with the relationships, the friendships, and her relationship with her mom, and her relationship with her sister that passed away recently within the last 6 months. Also realizing that she does want to be in the beauty pageant at first. So at first, yes, she does want to be in the beauty pageant, but then she's taking it like even more seriously than in the beginning. So there's a slight shift. I'm not a fan of beauty pageants, so I was like, yeah, do it. Especially children's beauty pageants. Fuck no. Now, when you're like 16, 17, 18, 19, you know, well, okay, 16 plus, fine. Actually, I do have issue with 16, 17-year-olds doing beauty pageants. At least you're not 5 doing beauty pageants. So I was into them kind of dismantling the idea of perfect beauty for the beauty pageant, especially with the whole thing of like blonde hair, blue-eyed, tall, skinny, not necessarily fit, but like you have no like fat on you, and what are you doing to have no fat on you? You're starving yourself. No, we're not going to do that. So yeah, I was all for it with Willow Dean and her group of friends going in that are not what the small Texas town would say conventionally attractive. So there's lots of thinking things out as well. Lots of trying to find herself during this difficult time, and what is right and wrong. And I think the book did it well, though she should have treated Mitch better, even though he's friends with the bully. Not like she bullied him or anything mean, but the ending of the book with that character relationship wasn't good. It was like a couple of paragraphs. We didn't get closure with Mitch because she was obsessed with Bo, and oh my god, yay, we're with Bo. Like, no, you should, anyone, not just teenager or adult, anyone should close a relationship that was healthy. It was a healthy relationship, but probably not on her side, because she was still in love with Bo. And she said many times, actually, I feel like I'm kind of using Mitch because he's nice and he's cute and he's respectful, but I just have a hang up with Bo. And now Also, see, this is the love triangle where none of them are bad people. Bo isn't bad, Mitch isn't bad, Willow Dean's not bad. They treat each other fairly well considering humans. Also, teen humans. Okay, but you do get a little insta-love with Bo and Willow Dean, and I think that's why she's just really going for Bo and not so much Mitch, because Mitch was a kind of a friend at first, and then they kind of sort of went with the relationship more so on his end, because Willow Dean is still in love with Bo. And yeah, I don't think the ending was great with Mitch and Willow Dean. I think she should have apologized more up front with, some of the situations that she did. She does handle it well enough for a teenager or a human. And I think people, especially adults, forget the fact that teenagers are immature and don't have a lot of life experience and just any experience, especially with relationships. You've only been around for 17 years, Willow Dean. I mean, you're doing enough. You're doing well enough compared to some other things that I've seen in real life, or the situations that I was in when I was in high school. Not just with me, but like watching how my fellow students were treating people. Oh yeah, Willow Dean, a saint. A saint, actually. She was doing a damn good job. I'm gonna give her props for that. Does she slip up? Absolutely. Is she mean sometimes? Is she unreasonable? Is she immature? Yeah. She's 17. Yeah. I think we have to remember that as adults, and remember, a throwback moment to when you were 17 and what was going on there. You said the wrong things. You didn't apologize more up front and face that, mistake with Mitch, and you were being a little silly with Ellen, and you got into silly fights all of a sudden, and then, that broke up that relationship for a few months. And yeah, but that's human life. That's just how relationships go sometimes, especially during high stress situations. Willow Dean and Ellen were very stressed out during this time for various reasons. And yeah, I mean, the teenagers not knowing how to deal with the stress and talk about the stress and communicate what even they're feeling, because they still don't understand a lot of the feelings going on and how to handle that. Of course, they're gonna have multiple fights, because they can't even understand how to say it, much less fix it. Especially when you're not, specifically with Willow Dean, especially if you're not close whatsoever with your mom. You're not really talking to anyone. She's really hanging out just with Ellen, and then she hangs out a bit and kind of falls in love with Bo, and then that breaks up, and then she's like, okay, going back to Ellen. Oh, we have a fight. We have multiple fights. Okay, where do I go from here? Oh, there's the outcast section of our high school, and okay, we're gonna go do a beauty pageant. Like, it's a teenager thing. It is not like, I've read other young adult novels that are really good, and like they're like really drowning. They're at the bottom of the pool type of situation, and something's about to break in like a really bad, dangerous way. This book is not in any way, no one's in danger, no one's a bad person, no one is surrounding themselves with a bad person other than Mitch with that really bad bully. So one person, though Mitch is not like that bully. So, I think that was an interesting dichotomy there. Very sweet, very respectful, but then he's best friends with someone that'll stuff you in a locker and call you horrible names. You always have that one bully, don't you? Yeah. So, it is realistic. It's realistic. All of the struggles with not just Willow Dean, but with all the teenagers that, because it's in first person, you're seeing through her eyes. those are teenager struggles. It's important to display. Definitely for teenagers that are reading the novel, but also for adults like me that understand how hard it is to be a teenager, because I know there are a lot of adults, and it's actually, I would say the majority of adults forget the teenage years for whatever reason, and then they just don't understand, like, well, why won't they listen to me when I say that I want my teenagers in it by 9 p.m. like, because your teenagers don't have the life experience you do. They don't have that understanding because they're teenagers. They're not going to understand the good and the bad of their decisions until it happens, and that's for adults as well. It's a cause and effect, as actions have consequences and all that stuff. But yeah, they're not going to get it for a while, or if they're really sheltered, they're not going to get it until, like, it slams them in the face and they're like, oh my god, this is what life is like. But I think this book, it's showing it in a realistic way, not a traumatizing way, but a realistic way. Not every teenager is going to be go through a difficult life, or a difficult home life, or scary life, or traumatic life, but it is good to show kind of everyday situations, and not just young adult books where it's trauma, which does happen, unfortunately, and that is realistic, absolutely. But I think we also need to have books like Dumplin, where it's compared to the trauma books, it's relatively calm in its facing the consequences and morality and good and bad, and what do you do with this relationship or that relationship, and how do you handle it, and how do you handle a relationship where you're not close with your mom whatsoever because she's just obsessed with beauty queen contest. Like, that's like her whole thing, because she won in like 1997 and you have no interest. But then again, I kind of want to do the beauty queen contest, and that's an interesting dynamic that we do go through throughout the novel. But it's 4 out of 5 stars because of the Mitch situation, unfortunately. And it took way too long for Willow Dean to get into the beauty pageant contest. Like, probably 130 pages, and the book is like 375 pages, give or take. Yeah, that's really long. Actually, I think it's like 300 pages. I could check, but I'm just lazy. Whatever. I did like the ending overall, about specifically the beauty pageant, but I'm not going to spoil it, so you have to read the book if you're interested. I think it handled it nicely and realistically. I do like the realism in this novel, because you always see, and I understand why, but you almost always see the main character, Willow Dean, win at everything, and she does not win at everything. I think she wins at, like, let's go 70%, 75%, and especially the beauty contest, she wasn't, like, fully into it. There are beauty contestants in that contest that were 120% into it, and they moved forward, compared to Willow Dean, who was like 80% into it type of thing. Like, it also shows that the drive and the want and the need and the dedication and all that wins over Willow Dean, who, you know, did it for various other reasons and is like 80% into it, and like, she's definitely trying, but especially this one fellow student in the outcast group is doing it way more, 150% in. She is going for it. She is just practicing everything every single day, 7 days a week, for hours on end, and Willow Dean isn't doing that. So I liked the ending. That was a little bit of a hint of what the ending was, but I do really enjoy this book, and I recommend it to anyone who wants a young adult contemporary that is realistic. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.